You knew it was
Come
going
on,
to be
Maureen,
good.
it's your turn. Go,
Okay.
girl.
Hey, everybody. It's Maureen Hayes, Dr. Maureen Hayes from Galveston, Texas, coming to you from Galveston, Texas. Oh my God, I'm really rusty at this. And we are here with another episode of The Five. And of course, you know the regulars, Big Jim from San Antonio, Texas, usually with his beautiful. But
Well,
you're in
actually, we're in Salt Lake City right now. So we're visiting.
Nice.
My Anne's going to walk in with our granddaughter any second. So we may do a sneak peek.
Yeah,
So
fantastic.
anyway, yeah.
So anyway, we get the Glens who are now in Salt Lake City. And of course, Dr. Lee Osler, who needs no introduction, our famous author of almost four books now on redox signaling molecules, Redox Matters, Healthy Matters, Why It Matters. And what's the next one, Lee?
Progress matters.
Progress Matters.
I like that.
And you guys, tonight we have a you know what, this shirt is making a racket. I'll see if I can keep my arms straight. We have a very special guest, another one who needs no introduction. We're so blessed and honored to have the one and only Alan Noble here with us tonight. Ambassador Double Diamond, incredible mentor, made amazing molecules for us, and also Discover Redox sites, both discoverredox.com and Discover Redox training for the associates out there. And, you know, we just got back from our annual convention. In fact, it was a global convention this year. And we just have some amazing information to share with you. And of course, we're so excited and passionate about what we do. But just for the people out there who maybe don't know what we're talking about or why they're even on this webinar, what we're sharing with you is a gift. It's a breakthrough in science called redox signaling molecules. Interestingly, these molecules they've been around forever. They've always been there. And actually, scientists started talking about them almost 100 years ago, but they weren't really found to be biologically active or important until the 1990s when Nobel Prizes were given for them. What has changed more recently in the past couple of decades is that these molecules have been found to be able to be put back into the body as a bioreplenishment agent and help the cells to perform better. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, about some of the new science that's come out regarding these molecules and the bioreplenishment and the effects that it has on people's bodies, as well as how we're sharing this and getting this information out to the world. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Alan Noble on so that he can share his magic with everybody. Alan, take it over from here.
Oh, I thought you were going to explain the technology to everybody. So are we going to talk a little bit about what ASEA is? Give a quick overview?
Yeah, I'd love it.
Okay.
We'll get Dr. Lee to talk about the new science and the NRF2 stuff.
Okay, cool. And then I'll explain it in ways that people can understand. That's a compliment, Dr. Osler. That's a compliment. Well, let me give you I'll give you the 6th grade version of why health experts like Dr. Hayes and Dr. Osler are calling this the most significant health science breakthrough of our lifetime. And to understand this technology, you've got to understand a very simple concept, and that is that we are the most complex communication networks on Earth. Our bodies are incredibly complex when it comes to communication, and we don't tend to think about it because you can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't feel it, you can't touch it. And when it comes to health supplements, we tend to think in terms of the basic building blocks, the vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes, the phytonutrients, the bioflavonoids, the probiotics, the prebiotics. We tend to think in terms of those building blocks of nutrients, and we don't really think about communication and signaling. And yet, the truth is, every second of every day, your cells are signaling tremendous amounts of messages for your body to stay healthy and vibrant. And any breakdown in that signaling, and you can't be healthy. In fact, this signaling, this communication impacts every system, every organ, every function of your body. And to put it very simply, if your cells can't signal, then little else matters. And so my favorite example is your home's on fire, you call the fire department. It doesn't matter how good the fire department is if you have a bad cell signal. Okay, they don't get the message. They don't know what the problem is, where the problem is, how serious the problem is, and your home goes up in smoke. And so, yeah, the fire department is important, obviously, but the cell signal is absolutely critical. And our technology is really the only technology in the world that can amplify and clarify that critical cell signal right across the body, every system, organ, function of the body. And we do it, and here's my layman's version of it, we do it by introducing these high energy molecules that are literally donating their energy to the cell like a battery pack, firing up that cell so your cells can signal and communicate these critical messages for health and vitality. And if you think of our bodies, as we get older, we have this reduction in signaling about 10% every decade. Imagine a flashlight that's getting dimmer 10% every decade until it gets to a point where it's pretty much useless. Well, what if you could put a new set of batteries into the flashlight and get a nice big strong beam again? You could almost think of this technology as these high energy molecules that are donating their energy just like a battery pack into your cells, allowing your cells to work like they did when you were younger. And the impact it's having in people's lives is absolutely astonishing. And it's not just cell signaling, it's even signaling at the profound depths of the genetic level. And we did a study, and this is going to be a nice segue into you, Dr. Osler. We did a study with Torrent Labs to show that, yes, this even signals at the profound depths of the genetic level, impacting 5 really important gene signaling pathways that directly impact the immune system, cardiovascular function, inflammatory response, healthy digestion, and hormone modulation. And then even one of those gene signaling pathways opens up another 15 pathways. And we just completed really, really exciting studies from Bath University and Sydney University that are showing pretty significant results. So why don't I hand it over to you, Dr. Osler, and you can share a little bit about the new science that was announced at convention regarding one of these signaling pathways.
Thanks, Alan. It's such a pleasure to have you on. I saw your energy at convention and everybody just flocked to you, and naturally so. So we appreciate your leadership. And yes, your explanation was very understandable, even by me. We should probably make a disclosure at this disclaimer at this time that we do represent a company called ASEA Global. That's why we're all here talking about this tonight. And this is a supplement in the United States, and it's classified that way in 33 other countries in the world. And so as a supplement, we are not making claims, we're not diagnosing, we're not curing or treating medical diseases. What we are doing, as Alan just eloquently summarized for us, is upping or upregulating the body's ability to respond to what we call stress or oxidative stress. So these signaling molecules, we call them redox for reduction oxidation signaling molecules. This is the way the body communicates. We think of ourselves speaking with our mouths and listening with our ears. Well, there's none of that obviously in the body. It's just biochemistry and physics and pH and oxidation, and the signaling molecules are utilized. They're created in the mitochondria, and they're utilized by the body to activate these pathways. One in particular that we have been keying in on, and quite frankly, everybody in the anti-aging arena in research has also been keying in on these, and that is what's called the NRF2 pathway. That is a switch, a redox sensitive switch, meaning that it's sensitive to states of oxidation in the cell. And when the oxidation becomes unbalanced or out of balance or too oxidized, it triggers a switch that essentially flips and turns on these pathways that activate the DNA to produce specific proteins and responses to rebalance and bring the cell back into homeostasis. This activating of these pathways, you can think of them as turning on your survival genes, the longevity genes, and that's the way they're referred to in many quarters. But it's about being able to be resilient in the face of stress that we have, both what we call physiologically, just burning glucose for energy in our cells, as well as what comes to us from the broader environment that creates oxidation. And so without this capacity to be able to respond to that stress, we would have more and more disease outcome. Now, what happens in the traditional world, I'll just make an analogy here. If the rooms that we were sitting in right now began to fill with smoke, and we decided to fix that by calling in the room doctor or the building doctor and complain and said, we have too much smoke in our room. And he would say, well, I've got a great prescription for you. And he would write a prescription for some fans. And he'd put fans in the window, and we'd blow all the smoke out. And the smoke alarms would go off. The symptoms, of the smoky room would go away. And we would sit here in somewhat, comfort because we didn't have smoke, in our face all the time. But eventually the fans either wear out or there's more and more smoke coming in, and it overpowers or, over exceeds what the prescriptive intervention was all about. And we need more fans. And I think that's a good metaphor for thinking about, the choices that we have as people to be able to get to the root cause of what's causing these imbalances and to be able to fix those. It'd be a lot better to fix out the burned out motor in the basement that's producing the smoke than just simply bringing fans in to make the smoke go away, even though the problem wasn't fixed. And that's what signaling is all about, is being able to activate the root cause solutions that put us back into rebalance and make us stress resilient. That's my 2 cents. So one more thing from the convention. What was exciting was we did have this study that Alan was talking about from the universities that were talking about NRF2. We've been for a long time, just chomping at the bit, trying to get something that was tangibly credible in the science community. And we do now have a study that shows an upregulation of the NRF2 activity, which is the gene that is responsible for turning on these pathways that we've been talking about. So as we go forward, we're going to see a lot about that. We'll be writing a paper on that and publishing it, summarizing it. And that will increase our confidence going forward that we really do have something that's well-grounded, which we knew all along. We needed to scratch that itch and have something that's on paper.
Maureen, do you have anything to say on that? Can I throw a few comments in here?
Sure, I'd love for you to. I was just going to say that we had the information from the TART lab study that we had an increase in the NRF2 activation, and that leads to an increase in glutathione and SOD activity as well, which is incredibly important. But here now we have third parties who are validating our science, major universities who are doing these studies. And so for a long time, people have been kind of clamoring for real science, peer reviewed. And of course, we're just starting on this. What most people don't understand is that you do the science and it takes a while to get published with that science. But, we've got real, credible, reproducible studies done now. So more and more is coming. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. NRF2 is just one of the pathways that we're looking at. Like you said before, we have that EGR1 gene that leads to 15 different pathways. So more and more studies will be coming out. Pretty exciting. It's a great time to be involved with this.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what gets me excited about this, not as a scientist, but really as an entrepreneur, looking at taking an absolute breakthrough technology into the marketplace. And I look for clues that this truly is a breakthrough, that when we say, we're quite famous for the phrase that ASEA Redox is perhaps the most significant health science breakthrough that we will see in our lifetime. And I look for clues that back that up. So that's not just hype. That's just not a sound bite that seems good in a PowerPoint presentation. Are there actual clues that you can point to that suggest, that's absolute truth? And we're beginning to see more and more of these clues come through at a faster pace. And one of the reasons why it took us so long to get there is people have to understand. So I've been associated with the company, maybe a little quick bio, I associated with the company for 14 and a half years. Maureen was still in diapers back then, 14 and a half years. That's a long time. That's 2009. I want you all to do a little exercise right now. I think, where were you in 2009? Okay. It's actually quite a long time ago. And so for me, I said, yes, I want to help take this technology around the world, and we're going to change lives. And so I've seen a lot of change over the last 14 and a half years. And I think what people don't sometimes understand is we spent really we now know more about this technology in the last 2 years or so than we gathered in the whole previous 10 or 12. When you have something that is so cutting edge, so advanced, again, we use this phrase 10 to 15 years ahead of its time. And again, that could sound like just hyperbole. It could just sound like, well, sales talk. But these universities are now coming to us, wanting to partner with us because they recognize that this technology is so advanced that nobody else in the world has it. This is their only chance to partner with a redox cell signaling supplement. And they're clamoring out, literally universities. I've got a PowerPoint slide on it, all over the world wanting to partner with us. And that's a big change from 2009, 2010, when we were wandering around looking for a university that even had a clue what we had our hands on. I mean, literally begging people, look, is there any way you could do some studies on this stuff? And they don't know what it is. They don't have the equipment to even analyze it or know what to do with it. And so when you look at that shift of going from trying to find a university, a credible place to help us validate what we have our hands on, to now universities all over the world calling ASEA saying, we want to partner with you, you have to understand how significant that shift is. It's massive. And if we get time, I'll reference it again at the end with something I want to share with you, which is my vision for where this is going. But just to get back to the NRF2, this is up
Alan, can I interject something though about that? Bring up an amazing point. And a lot of times people will dismiss any studies that are done that are funded by the company. But, as I said, all of our studies previously were funded by ASEA because we were the ones asking the questions. But people feel like that may be biased because you're paying for it. So you may be paying for the results. So the fact that outside entities are coming to us to ask the questions and do the science is huge. And thank you for bringing that up.
Well, I had a great conversation with Jim?
Yes. But Alan, in the beginning, your story, that wasn't what got you. Can you just go over real quick why you were looking for something like this? Because look, I don't care how my watch works. I know it works. And this stuff works. I don't need to understand all the science. So I kind of bring I bring the talk down quite a bit. But what was your original reason why you were looking for something? And then as a business mind, and you and I have somewhat similar backgrounds, what was it that had you hooked?
Yeah, so for me, back in 2009, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've been a self-employed entrepreneur my whole life. I call myself psychologically unemployable. I would be a nightmare as an employee, but I'm really good at employing myself. And I graduated with a degree in international finance from Queen's University, Belfast, the famous city of Belfast, Northern Ireland, famous for all the wrong reasons. For those that know their geopolitical European history. I find myself just to be psychologically unemployable, and I stumbled into the direct sales arena and also into the health and wellness arena, and I became a real student of health and wellness. I would consider myself for the last 30 years of being a health and wellness advocate, not on a professional level like Dr. Lee or Maureen, but just as a layperson, educated layperson of how our body truly can respond if given the right, put in the right environment. And as I said, most of that time it was around really the nutritional world, which I find fascinating. But then in 2009, my father got sick with a pretty serious health challenge. And that drove me to look for something that could help his body repair. And I don't know if everybody's a big believer in the power of prayer or the power of focused intention and thought backed by emotion, however you want to describe it. But within 5 days, I heard about these molecules. And that's quite remarkable considering, again, back to 2009, YouTube wasn't around. You couldn't play MP4 videos. You know, there were no websites, there were no videos, there was nothing online. It was really through a chance conversation. And I had to fly to Salt Lake City to learn more about this. And what actually got me on the plane wasn't my understanding of redox signaling molecules. It was the fact that I thought I was pretty educated in this field and I'd never heard of these molecules. So if we've got anybody listening tonight thinking, well, I'm pretty much up on health and wellness, but I've never heard of these molecules, well, welcome to the club. That's where I was 14 years ago. And so I was so fortunate to be able to sit down with the atomic medical physicist that kind of helped lead the team of scientists on a large part of this discovery, to sit down with the founder of ASEA, Vertus Norton, who made a very, very principled decision to put people ahead of a pharmaceutical payout. And I remember just looking at this, and I sometimes don't know why people find it so difficult. You know, this simple concept of signaling your body, this signal, think about it, you cut your finger and there has to be signaling for that blood to stop. There has to be signaling for those skin cells to knit back together in such perfect precision that you can't even see where the cut is. I mean, to me, it was a very simple concept. It's always been a simple concept. And there's a decline in that signaling as we get older. And we now have a way to help our bodies signal like they did when we were younger, to kind of have the battery, a new battery pack in the flashlight again, you know, a new battery in your cell phone, whatever analogy you want to use. It's a very simple concept to me. I sometimes get confused why people find it so challenging. And so I got it and I started shipping the product back to my dad. He was the first person, I believe he was the first person in Ireland to drink the molecules. So we know it's leprechaun safe, okay? Leprechauns can drink the molecules. We should have kosher, halal, and leprechaun friendly. We should put a shamrock on the label, you know? And so I started sent over to my dad, and within 4 months, my father had a clean bill of health. And I had my dad for another 8 years after that, 7 of those years in just absolutely fantastic health. But the first testimonial was my wife, Tanya. Discomfort in her lower back and hips and down her leg that she suffered really ever since the birth of my first daughter. For 10 months, my wife was in agony after that delivery. And again, very proactive, trying all the exotic juices, trying the alkalizing diets, trying all the vitamins, the minerals, the glutathione accelerators, all of this stuff, chiropractors, massage therapists, physiotherapists, acupuncture, acupressure, bought a new mattress, very proactive, and nothing works. I come home with the big blue bottle and my wife takes a couple of ounces in the morning, a couple of ounces in the afternoon, wakes up the next morning, zero discomfort for the first time in 10 months. And it was in that moment that I knew that this technology can do things that no other technology can do, because it contains things that nothing else on the planet contains, that no other supplement contains. And that's these powerful, high energy molecules that are ready to fire up your cells and help them work properly. And so that was really the beginning of the journey, is that my father's result came 4 months later. But I just then, as an entrepreneur, I start looking at it and going, okay, you've got this high impact technology that nobody else in the world has. Today, we have 7 patents and over 200 trade secrets. It used to be 30-something patents, but we've moved more to trade secrets because that actually protects your technology better. You know, there are certain countries that don't really care about US patents. You know, if they can reverse engineer it, they will. And so we're actually moving much more towards patents. So today, 7 patents over well over 200 trade secrets. And I said, okay, you've got this really advanced technology. It absolutely has the power to change people's lives in a very positive way. It's zero toxicity, probably the safest supplement on the planet. It's native to the body. It's impossible to be allergic to. You'd have to be allergic to yourself. Although I've met a couple of people I think might be allergic to themselves. But, you know, it's like native to your own body, like your own tears, your own saliva. It's very, very safe supplement. Nobody else in the world has it. And virtually nobody knows about it. And I was going, you know, you don't need to be the sharpest entrepreneur to realize there's significant opportunity there. I kind of joke, you only need one entrepreneurial blood cell to realize that this breakthrough is creating very, very significant opportunity. And, you know, we live in an age right now, I say my noble purpose is to transform lives physically and financially, harnessing the power of ASEA. And sometimes we get over-focused on the physical because of our beautiful blue bottle. But, you know, the financial is important too. I often remind people, money and oxygen have something in common. When you have plenty of money and plenty of oxygen, you don't give them a second thought. But when you don't have enough money or enough oxygen, it is all you can think about. And we have millions of people right now that are going to bed thinking about money, getting up thinking about money, going through their day thinking about money, and it's going to get worse. We're not even in the middle of this thing yet, guys. It's going to get worse. US household debt just hit, I think it was over 7 trillion or something. I can't remember the exact number. It literally has hit an all-time high. The average American family is something like $12,000 away from total bankruptcy. And so an Uber came to my house, a friend was staying here, Uber came to the house, find out it was a medically trained pathologist driving the Uber. Her husband is a sports coach for a huge football team, and yet they're looking for ways to make more money, and she's at 7:30 in the morning driving an Uber. And so I don't make any apologies to say my noble purpose isn't just to transform lives physically, is to transform lives financially. Financial stress is perhaps one of the biggest killers in the world today. And we have something here where you can go out, help us take this technology out into the world, help us tell people about it, help us share this story of ASEA and really change people's lives and actually get paid for it. Get paid for it. And so, sorry, that's one of my soapboxes. Let me kick that soapbox away, and I'll step down from that soapbox, and we'll move on. But I'm passionate about it. I see financial hardship just crushing families. You know, an extra $500 a month can keep the average home together. The $500 a month stops the average home from going into foreclosure. That can keep a marriage together. That can keep kids safe under a roof. And, you know, anyway, it's just a real passion of mine to help people move their lives forward. Yes, improve their health, but also improve their financial health as well. So I see a few amens there. Thank you, Prudence.
Yeah, I wouldn't apologize, Alan. I know when I was practicing, one of the things that used to hurt my heart is that a lot of people couldn't afford to be healthy. You know, it takes money to be able to eat well. You know, when you see people who have a bad diet, you know, it's because it's cheap. Macaroni and cheese is inexpensive. You know, they can't afford organic food. Maybe they can't afford a gym membership or physical therapy or some of the other things that we would like for them to do to get on a better path. So, you know, having the resources to take care of yourself is really important. And so I don't think we should ever apologize for helping people to even be able to afford these products, because they're not cheap, right?
And the great thing is the company says, hey, listen, we're going to give you a very simple way that simply through some referrals. I mean, imagine even being able to get ASEA half price. Through a couple of referrals, you can get ASEA pretty much half of it paid for. 5 or 6 referrals, you got your product for free. And, you know, and it also introduces this concept of residual. I mean, I have people I shared this technology with in 2009, 2010, and I did the work once and they loved the product. They got great results. They feel great. Well, there is no other redox signaling technology for them to go try. There is no other brand. And so they stay with ASEA. So we have tremendous retention here. And guess what? I got paid to make that first introduction. I did it once, and then I got paid again. I didn't have to do anything. That they reordered, but I got the credit again and again and again. I don't know if someone can quickly do what 14 and a half years times 12 is and tell how many times I've been paid on some of these people I introduced ASEA to. Maureen's working it out. 14 and a half years times 12.
Hey, Alan.
12 is 144, so it's like 168, something like that.
But there's a little bit more behind that story if you have time. I know you've got some things you want to get into, but you were also, like us, kind of in a bad place financially.
Oh yeah, that's why I talk
Back
about
in the
this with
beginning.
such, yeah, this is why I talk about it with such passion.
Right.
I was financially embarrassed. I mean, the entrepreneurial path is not the easiest path. And so I'd experienced the ups and downs, and I was in a particularly tough place. We would take the rest of the call to really explain the circumstances, but let's just put it this way: to get on that flight to go to Salt Lake City, I had to put it in my wife's credit card. I mean, that'll leave you embarrassed. And so here I am with a 10-month-old baby, a fairly new wife. Tanya and I were just under 2 years married. And she'd come out here to live the American dream with me. She's from Ireland, and left a great career in teaching, 15-year career in teaching. She was head of infants. I mean, she was principal material, very, very gifted with young kids. And I brought her out here to live the American dream that was turning into the American financial nightmare. And I felt really bad about it, guys. I was in a really tough place. And so when I saw this opportunity, yes, I went searching for a breakthrough for my dad. But when I saw the breakthrough, the opportunity became so crystal clear to me so quickly. And I just said, this is it. This is what I need to do. The timing was terrible. I was working 7 days a week. I was working anywhere from 12 to 16 hours a week. I was helping put together a financial services company in Denver, Colorado at the time. And really, as kind of part of that ownership team, I was getting paid peanuts. You're last to get paid. And I was living on fumes, trying to put this company together with a business partner. And it was the worst time possible. I could give you all the reasons why this was not the right time for me, but all I needed was one reason to do it. And that reason was you ever been on the edge of a cliff where your toes are hanging onto the edge? That's where I felt I was. And I saw this opportunity and I recognized it and I took action. And that's really the keys to success, guys. You gotta recognize an opportunity, seize it, and then take action. I don't think our opportunity is difficult to recognize it. It's just a question whether people are willing to seize it and then take action. And so I did, and very, very glad I did. The last 14 and a half years, I have witnessed thousands of people's lives change with this technology. And in helping bring that about, I've been rewarded very, very nicely through the compensation structure to be in a very good place financially, and I'm very grateful for that. And if I get time, Jim, and you stop asking me questions, I'll get to kind of where we're going in the future and our vision. But we'll keep that for a little bit. I would love to just circle back just to the this NRF2 study and just kind of tie it up together in a nice bow. With, again, I'm a big picture guy, okay? I was just reading something about Sagittariuses, and we don't like getting bogged down in the details. We're big picture guy, big thinkers, big dreamers, you know? And so we've got this NRF2 switch, which is the master switch for the antioxidants, switching on these powerful endogenous antioxidants that our body makes. That make the fruit and berry antioxidants look like child's play. These massive antioxidants like glutathione, superoxide dismutase, SOD, and catalase. And, you know, we had previous studies that showed that we fired those antioxidants up. We increased the efficacy of glutathione by 800%, superoxide dismutase by 500%. You know, the best way, again, here's my simple layman's way. Think about antioxidants are like light bulbs. And if it's a tiny little LED bulb, you know, that's a little vitamin light bulb. Glutathione is like a football field, one of those big football field halogen bulbs. You know what I mean? Massive surface area, can do incredible things. And we're making that 800% more effective. So this NRF2 switch, firing that up by up to 60% is absolutely massive. I mean, it's a game changer. But here's the thing, as Maureen said, there are many, many other pathways. Okay, there's many other pathways. this one signaling pathway that opened up another 15, of which the NRF2 is one of them. We are now exploring other pathways. Now, I had a conversation with Scott Alder today, our CEO, and he said, Alan, these universities are coming back to us and saying, you know what? You need to be looking at these pathways and these pathways and these pathways. And they're suggesting like 5-fold, even more pathways, 50 plus pathways that we can start to look at. Because I'll say it again, every organ, every system, every function of the body requires signaling, which means we can expect every pathway in the body requires signaling. Well, we have the signaling. And so we're only at the beginning of this research. It's incredibly exciting times. I'm going to give you one other little nugget. Again, I was talking to Scott and I said, well, what else you got cooking there? You know, and he says, Alan, we've got so many things going on with so many places. And he says, we're not ready to share the details, but I'll tell you this. We had one study and I asked him, hey, I said, I'm talking tonight. Can I share this? He said, yeah. So I'm not, there's nothing confidential here. He says, there was one study. Normally they'll run study about 3 times, something like that. He says, there was one study, they ran the numbers. The numbers were so incredible, they didn't believe it. This is stuff that hasn't been announced yet, guys. These are more pathway studies that we're doing right now, behind the scenes, that are going on. You don't know about them yet, okay? The NRF2 was just the first. He says, they were so astonished with the numbers, the scientists said, it can't be right. We got to run the numbers again. They ran the numbers again and again. And again, they ended up running the numbers 9 times until they said, that's what the numbers are. This is amazing. You know about this stuff, Maureen?
Yeah. And Alan, if I'm not mistaken, this is the study that the university actually sent it to another university to confirm their findings because they were so astounded by what was showing up. So absolutely amazing.
Guys, I'm in goosebumps. I'm in goosebumps because look, if ASEA was a stock, you literally like, you know, like those people in the early days that believed in Bitcoin, they sold their house, they sold their car, they sold their kids, you know, anything they could do. And they literally put every dime into Bitcoin. And then, you know, luckily it worked out for them. I'm telling you guys, if ASEA was a stock, it's privately held, but this was a publicly traded stock. It's like remortgage the house, sell the car, you know, ride a bike to work and buy ASEA stock. I'm telling you, where we are going, this NRF2 study, up to 60% activation in these critical antioxidants in your body. It's a huge study. There are companies out there, I'll not mention any names, that hang their hat just on NRF2. And it's only going to be one piece of the ASEA puzzle. I'm telling you, in the next 12, 18, 24, 36 months, I don't know how long it's going to take, but the work's going on right now. I'm going to say next 24, 36 months, the world is going to know once and for all why we call this the most significant health science breakthrough of our lifetime. Period. End of story. Done, finished, completed. You have to understand this. And so again, 14 years, I've never been so excited in my life to get on the ASEA horse and charge. We are going in amazing, amazing places here. So who knew science could be so exciting, huh?
Hey, Alan, could I jump in with a comment? You know, this whole idea that you're talking about and how we, you know, compare, as it were, with the marketplace and everybody else who's claiming to have, you know, some little small niche of it. The way I say it is these were the deepest cell signaling molecules ever discovered. They are the most upstream, most foundational. And because of that, that's why it has the properties to activate the entire redox landscape. And so my retort is, well, why would you want to settle for just one pathway when you could have them all? And that's the point.
Yeah. Yeah. This is so foundational. Again, you go back to the house, you need the bricks, you need the mortar, you need the glass, the tiles, you need the building blocks. And those are the nutritional building blocks. And look, we have a beautiful nutritional range. I think we got the best omega product on the planet, fish oil product on the planet, only fish oil that doesn't give me that awful fishy burp. You know, amazing probiotics. I mean, we could do a whole thing here just on ASEA Via. We got great nutrition. But there's something more important, and that's the foundation that the house sits on. If that foundation's not solid, I don't care that you got the nicest brickwork in the neighborhood. Cracks are going to appear. And when cracks appear in people's health, they have to fix the foundation, and the foundation is signaling. And we have the only signaling technology in the world that is, as I said, so complete to address every system, organ, and function, this redox signaling. So I have to say, Louisa Vanderberg gets the prize for the best comment. That makes my geek brain explode with happy. I love that. That's a great comment. So,
Hey,
look,
Alan,
that was the.
Yeah. Hey, a little bit of a teaser for next week. We've got Scott Aldred coming on our show next week, so maybe we can get a little bit more out of him.
Oh yeah, although he's tough. He's tough. He has this kind of like just wry grin that he knows what he knows, and it's kind of, it just says, if you knew what I knew,
right,
you wouldn't be sleeping. You'd be selling everything, buying a sea of stock, you know.
But there isn't any.
No, but so anyway, we're in a really, really cool place. So that was the science, and just so many exciting things around it, but it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning.
Hey, so I want to touch on something you just said. I'm not sure if only we could buy the stock. This is better than that. Because if you buy stock, there's only one way you make money, and that's when you sell it.
Yeah.
But here, you get to be a part owner and have your own business, have your own distribution network, which gives you unlimited income versus what the stock market would, what a stock would do in the company. Because that was the first thing I asked: is there a stock? You know, is this a private offering? You know, what is it going to be? But the best deal is the way they marketed this. Go ahead.
Yeah, and they're absolutely committed to that. I mean, we could go off on a tangent here, what a lot of companies are doing, kind of pulling the rug out from underneath some of their distributor force that really put that company on the map. ASEA's not doing that. ASEA is absolutely committed that we are the army that's out there sharing this story, and they're not going to pull the rug from under us. Again, gosh, we could do a whole call just on the ethics and principles and what we like to call the ethos of ASEA. You know, I left the direct sales industry for almost 8 years, and I basically said to myself, I will not come back into this industry unless I can find two things, two simple checkboxes. Number one, I need to find an exceptional, unique product. I want to find a story that's never been told before. I want the solo voice that rises above the crowded choir, not the same old, my daddy can beat up your daddy game. I find that with ASEA Redox and our technology. The second thing is I wanted to find a company I could trust, that when I lay my head in the pillow at night, I knew that my business was safe, that if I decided to build teams, that they would be safe. And I'll tell you, I often say this in my presentations, who ASEA is almost as unique as what ASEA is. And it's the two coming together that creates the perfect storm. And sometimes people just haven't been around long enough. They haven't kissed enough frogs to really appreciate the princess when it arrives. You know, for those of us that still have the taste of frog in our mouth, we understand what ASEA is. We understand how special this company is, along with the technology. We won't see another ASEA in our lifetime. And so I just encourage people, you know, if you're in here, if I'm talking to some associates here, don't take this for granted. You won't see another company like this in your lifetime, I can promise you. So other cool things at convention. Is this the convention recap call, or is this the NRF2 call? Wherever we want to go. Is it just
wherever you want to go, buddy? It's all yours. You only got 2 hours left, so go ahead.
Okay, good. I'll try and talk faster. Here we go. Well, no, what you do, you wrap this up at the top of the hour, don't you? Yeah, okay. We'll see if we can do that. Look, a couple of other things came out of our convention. We developed, the company's been working way behind the scenes, just working hard for months, almost a year on developing a brand new app. You know, we're moving with the times. We've got this cutting edge technology. We wanted to have, we had a cutting edge health technology. We wanted to have a cutting edge IT, IT, I can't say IT technology because that repeats the T. It's like an ATM.
It's that good. It's that good. It gets next.
So this app with over 30 marketing deliverables on it. And again, that's only just the beginning. They're continuing to make these deliverables that are really going to move us forward in customer acquisition. Very, very important in our world that we have lots and lots and lots of customers, people who actually aren't involved with the distribution of the product. So this app is very important with the customer acquisition programs, and it's really cool. So it's opening up to all North American associates this coming Monday. They'll be able to download the app, and we call it the Blue Tape Team. You know, we're still working on a few bugs. The official launch will be January 2024, but that's pretty exciting. Also, it's got some really good connection tools. You know, you always want to keep people informed. Anytime I'm talking to a new associate and they ask me, give me a piece of advice, I'll say, get connected and stay connected. Stay close to the fire. Okay. Stay close to the center. Stay in the game long enough until you got to stay connected to the information. Don't be a Rambo. Rambo stands for rarely achieve much by oneself. Okay. Rambos don't succeed here. Only the team players do. And so this communication part of the app as well, I think is going to really help keep people informed. They know what's going on. They'll know about this call. You can send a little message through the app and things like that. So that's exciting as well. Look, there were some other great things. I mean, Tyler, I'm going to get to Tyler's intro in just a minute. I better get to it soon. But he also did a beautiful just honoring his friend and our CEO, Chuck Funky. Gosh, that gets me a little emotional, mainly because Chuck was crying like a baby on stage. And he's very stoic, you know, and so for Chuck to get emotional, but you know, there's been a baton pass from Chuck Funky over a decade as our CEO now to Scott Aldred, who came from president to CEO. And it was really a very beautiful and touching address, both Chuck's address and Tyler's address to Chuck. And it really demonstrated, I think, this beautiful family aspect of ASEA that we're all part of. And I could talk a lot more about it, but it may not be that relevant to your audience here. But it was just another, for me, one of the highlights of convention, just seeing that deep care and love that holds this company together. The only way I could say it. We've 10 minutes to the top of the hour. Can I share with where I think things are going?
Would love it.
You know, Tyler opened convention with one of the most beautiful speeches that I've ever heard. I had some very experienced entrepreneurs, people experienced in the direct sales industry that were there 30 plus years in the industry, that turned around to me and said, that was probably the most powerful session I've ever attended in this industry. And I would encourage everybody, if you missed the first session, if you didn't see it, get a recording somewhere. If you had a virtual ticket, you have 30 days to continue to watch that. If you had a live attendance ticket, you also have 30 days to watch recordings. It was really powerful. And one of the things that really stuck to me is the whole concept. His overriding theme was we power potential. This beautiful idea that the W stretches out and embraces, whereas the M, the me, is kind of closed off. And it's this concept of we. And he gave these beautiful examples of the fish darting in beautiful unison together. The murmur, is it the murmuration of the birds? Were they swallows or starlings? What were they? Anybody remember?
Starlings. They're starlings.
The murmuration, where you see these they're just like together, this incredible harmony. It's like just one organism, but it's made up of, you know, hundreds and hundreds of these birds, the murmuration of starlings, and then the shimmering of bees. You know, it was like a wave at a football game, you know, but this beautiful shimmering of bees. And it was some beautiful visual, this imagery of this concept that when we really get in unison, there's magic to it. And it made me think, because actually prior to the conference, I had been working with mentoring several different teams and associates, and I've been getting people very, very clear on, number one, their identity, how they see themselves, because your success will never outgrow your own self-image. And so this is where it all starts. Do you believe you deserve success? A lot of people have very poor relationships with money. That's another ASEA 5 call for another time, okay? But this identity is very, very important. And with that, getting them really clear on their vision. You can't hit a target that you can't see. And sometimes in this crazy world, we just don't take the time to get clarity, to get real clarity on what we're moving towards, what our goal is, what our aim is, what our target is. And so I set an example by writing out a very, very clear vision, what I felt the vision for ASEA and my business. And I'm going to read it to you here. To attract and develop the leadership necessary to double and triple the size of ASEA to a $500 million company in the next 3 to 5 years. That is my absolute ironclad vision. To attract and develop the leadership necessary to double and triple the size of ASEA to a $500 million company in the next 3 to 5 years. Now, I'm going to explain to you a couple of things around this. Why is that my vision? If it's taken us 14 years to get to about 180 million, well, then why am I saying the next 3 to 5 years we can get to $500 million? That's quite a leap. And it comes back to what we've already discussed. There's a shift going on. The past doesn't equal the future. There's a massive shift going on. And so with this shift, so for example, imagine you're playing a game and you're playing defense. I kind of consider that we've spent the time playing defense over the last decade, over the last 14 years. We've been busy protecting the goal. We've been busy telling everybody, no, this isn't a bottle of salt water. Oh no, this is something different. And so we've been playing this game of defense, and we've still been very successful. We're the 43rd largest direct sales company in the world playing defense. $180 million a year business playing defense. What happens when we start to play offensively? What happens when we start driving the ball up the field and start scoring the goals, or touchdowns for you Americans, okay? And this shift's going on. So think about the universities playing defense, trying to find a university that will study our technology. Universities all over the world reaching out to us saying, can we study your technology? Do you get the difference? Do you feel the shift? That's just one little example. And so I feel this shift of moving from defensive play to offensive play. I don't want to use the word aggressive. It's not the right word, but there's just a shift, guys. And so I believe that we will absolutely double and triple the size of this company in the next 3 to 5 years, literally making the past look like we were standing still. That's the shift that I see. Now, why am I sharing this? There's a very interesting concept called self-fulfilling expectations. And I believe our lives move in directions of self-fulfilling expectations. The stock market, Jim used to be a broker. The stock market moves because of self-fulfilling expectations. And you can say, well, hold on a second. The company published their financials and their profit and loss and their revenues and all earnings and et cetera, et cetera. I go, yeah, but expectations are then built because of that. The profit and loss was great. Their earnings was great. So expectations are the stock's going to go up. And if enough people believe the price of a stock's going to go up, what happens? It goes up. If enough people believe the price of the stock's going to go down, guess what happens? Stock goes down. The stock market totally runs on self-fulfilling expectations. To a large degree, your life runs on self-fulfilling expectations. What you think about, you bring about. Where the focus goes, the energy flows. What you focus on grows and expands. And so your ASEA business will move in the direction of self-fulfilling expectations. But let me suggest to you that it's even bigger than that. You see, I think back to the murmuration of the birds. I think back to the school of fish. I think back to the shimmer of bees. I think of what happens when we believe in a common goal, in a common vision. What if we all start to believe that we can attract the leadership necessary to double and triple the size of this company to a $500 million company in the next 3 to 5 years? The power of we starts to take over. Now, are anyone familiar here with the 100th monkey concept? The 100th monkey? The 100th monkey, it's this idea that these monkeys were taking these sweet potatoes and they didn't like the sand on them. And one day, one of them learned to wash the potato in the sea. And then another monkey started to wash the potato in the sea, and it started to spread within that colony. But apparently what happened is there was a certain tipping point, and they call it the 100th monkey. There's a tipping point where even colonies and other islands that were not connected started doing the same behavior. They started washing the sweet potatoes in the sea, in the water. And it's almost like this quantum field that we live in. There's a certain number, there's a tipping point that when achieved, there's a greater awareness. And I have a belief that if enough people grasp this vision, that we will double and triple the size of this company in the next 3 to 5 years, taking us to a $500 million company, attracting and developing the leadership necessary, it will be done. And we just need 100 monkeys. So I said this to Scott and I shared it with Tyler. And I said, hey, they agreed with, I said, okay, we got 3 monkeys, me, Scott, and Tyler. We got 3 monkeys. We only need 97 more. Okay. So here's what I'm challenging your audience. And I'm really talking to our associates. If you're a guest here tonight, I hope you've enjoyed our conversation. The ramblings of an Irishman. If you join ASEA, you'll get used to them. But I'm really talking to our existing associates here. If this resonates with you, doubling and tripling the size of this company in the next 3 to 5 years, if this resonates with you, if you understand what I'm talking about, if you're feeling it, moving from defense to offense, then I'm going to say, come be one of our monkeys. Join us on this, because together, the collective we start to fulfill these expectations. We will become absolutely unstoppable. And that's how I feel right now, guys. I am so fired up, so excited, and I really appreciate you guys giving me an opportunity to share here tonight on this call. So thank you.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to say. Thank you. Thank you, Alan, for your time. Thank you for passing on what you just did to everybody out there. This was something that we need to be replaying. And can I be one of the monkeys?
Come on in. Now we got 4. Now we got 4.
Maureen,
We already have
Lee?
Yeah, I'm in. We already have a theme song. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys.
Yeah, we go.
Guys, Alan Noble, thank you. Is there anything else you want to say, or is that you just did it?
I'm done. I'm fired up. I'm excited. It's some people think it's odd that I'm so excited about ASEA 14 years into it. Would it not have got old, got boring? I tell you guys, I am more excited today than I've ever been. because everything I'm saying to you, they're not just words, they're not just a script. I believe them with my heart and soul. I believe them with every cell in my body. And I am genuinely excited to help lead the charge with this company. So I just say, come with us. There's Patricia drawing monkeys. I love it. How many monkeys do we have now? Hey, if you're a monkey, type in that you're ready, and let's see how many monkeys we have. We only need 100 to create a tipping point, and it will be done. Okay. So,
Alan, we have so much gratitude for you. You were there in the beginning when there was no runway built for the monkeys to take off, but you were there and you did the work, you did the labor, when you didn't have any scientific studies, when you didn't have any of that, and you just did it. You went out and did it. And now you get to capitalize on the fruit of your labor because the momentum is getting ready to kick in. We can feel it.
It's exciting times. And don't forget, guys, yes, you can look at this from the entrepreneurial perspective and income and earnings, et cetera, but remember, we make a living while making a difference, where the size of your commission check in ASEA is a direct reflection of lives changed. And, we all have to make a living in the world. I believe the ASEA dollars that we earn are the most valuable dollars that we can earn because they represent those lives changed. And so I have no problem having huge, big financial goals because I know that means lots and lots of people are getting their life back with our technology. And so for me, it's a win-win. It's just beautiful.
And nothing wrong with the good guys having the money to do the good.
That's another conversation for another time. Man, we're stacking it up.
Got two of them written down, so we got to get you back into the rotation. So
hey, I'm looking on the chat. We got lots of monkeys.
A lot of monkeys.
We have 100. We could have 100 monkeys.
We've got 100 monkeys, guys. So remember, we're going to attract the leadership and develop the leadership necessary to double and triple the size of ASEA to a $500 million company in the next 3 to 5 years. Come join us and let's go do it together.
And that's just the beginning.
Oh, I'm not. Oh, there's a journey past that, but that's
exactly
5 years from now. Okay.
Beautiful. Maureen, anything you want to add?
No, my heart is full. I'm excited about this. I feel like we're just getting started all over again.
Lee?
No, I'm grateful. One of the things I really enjoy about you, Alan, and those you have taught in how to speak to this is this next level concept of we don't need to hype. That's part of the sticky feeling that people get with other things they've done in their life, and it's so refreshing. That's the we idea, distills into these other elements of next level marketing because of the solid foundation of ethics and ethos, and it's just like you can set that aside and move on.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Lee.
Well, guys, thank you. Alan, as always, thank you. Guys, next week we have got Scott Aldred, which I think is critical. Again, I've been a stockbroker, had been for 30 years. I've seen a lot of excellent companies come. And Alan, you know this, we've seen a lot of excellent companies go. It's about the leadership of the company. So come back and get to know our CEO, who is an amazing man. And we do believe we will see things happen a lot quicker. The week after that, we have the science team, Dr. Andrea and Hunter Dean will be coming on with Maureen and obviously Dr. Osler to go deeper, hopefully with English ways that I can understand it, to go deeper into the science. And then after that, we've got Ed Weems, who will be talking about our amazing business model. So with that, guys, thank you. We love you. Thanks for coming. Please, we do this as a pay it forward. Please invite other people all over the world to come join us. So with that, the recording will be available within about an hour or so at the amazing redoxmatters.com website. Thank you, guys. God bless. Alan Noble, we owe you everything. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.
God bless.
Okay,
Great call.
Good night.
Good to be back.
Good evening.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for coming back, Maureen. Bye-bye, everyone.